Many thanks, Edmond Nyabola. As you rightly mentioned, the business desk was up and about from Dandora to Upper Hill and finally at the KICC, where we covered extensively matters regarding the Oshirika Day celebrations. And now let's take a little bit of a deep dive into some of the key metrics informing the cooperative movement in Kenya. And we'd like to start by looking at the aggregate number of registered entities, which according to official statistics stand just a little bit above 19,000. Now, we do appreciate that President Uhuru Kenyatta in his speech today has indicated that this number has since grown to about 23,000. We'll be waiting for official data to be updated for us to reflect that in our program going forward. But moving on away from the total number of registered entities, let's look at the asset base size, which is just about 1.3 trillion. Now, this suggests that the asset base size for cooperative movement is just about a quarter of that of commercial banks. Now, this is the key metric for anyone who's looking at the size and financial muscle of the cooperative movement. And switching gears away from this, another key indicator many people would be keen to observe is the total membership size in the cooperative sector. Now, it stands at about 10.7 million persons registered by official data. Of course, the president has now indicated that this has since risen to 14 million and will be updating our numbers accordingly. Away from this, however, one of the other key things which people look at around cooperatives is the total income of the sector as of 2017, which stood at about 103 billion shillings. And this is one of the key metrics we'll be looking at in terms of the performance of the sector and just how it is growing and how the country is performing in terms of mobilizing savings and generating income for savers. But moving away from this, many of us would be keen to observe in terms of membership, how are we spread across different cooperatives? Now, official data indicates that 77.5%, and that's a huge proportion, belong to non-agriculture based cooperatives, and this entails things like housing cooperatives and transport cooperatives. Now, moving away from that, the next big one is in agriculture-based cooperatives, and these are the producer cooperatives dealing in aspects like tea, coffee, and other agricultural crops, which constitutes about 16.1% of the population. Now, unions and this are about agitating for the interests of members, and in some cases, employees as well. It stands at about 6.4%. Now, this is really important just in terms of getting a view of the landscape, how it stands. But switching gears from this, we would like also to observe that another key indicator we look at in terms of the cooperative sector is in the growth of income, because this is, in a sense, what tells us just how, in terms of performance, this cooperative movement is growing. Now, if you look at this chart here, we are moving from 2009 up till about 2017 based on the latest available data. And you can see it has grown from about 46.8 billion shillings up till 103.1, which of course we had reflected in our earlier slide. The key point to note here is that the growth curve has been a bit of a slowdown in terms of the growth was fast-paced between 2009 up till about 2013. But from that point, we've seen a bit of a slowdown in terms of growth of income. We do hope that this trend can be reversed and that cooperatives can continue to grow their income in a more robust manner. So that's just a bit of a highlight in terms of the cooperative movement. For now, it's back to you, Edmond.